Welcome to Figuring Out Homestead Life with Ginny and Alison. And today we have a special guest with us, Heather Skillman from Burnt Feather Farm in Pennsylvania. I had the honor of meeting Heather at the end of November when she and her husband delivered 4 fabulous barn cats to Zig Homestead. And I have to tell you, Heather, they're doing their job.
That's definitely good to hear.
So welcome, Heather, to our podcast. And Heather, your mic is muted.
I'm off mute now. Sorry about that.
That's okay. And before we get into our interview, Ginny, we're going to go through our little what have you been up to lately. So, Ginny, what have you been up to?
Not too much. We finally tapped our trees. So we've had a couple good days of sap run, but now it is the either second or third winter of the year. Very cold out today. It was 60 yesterday. I think it's 8. It's, I don't know, very cold today in the 20s and extremely windy. So no sap today, probably not tomorrow, but that's good. That's about it. What about you guys?
So for me, Randy and I have been working on insulating the woods cabin. So we're insulating and putting boards up on the interior walls to make it all nice and cozy. And we're relocating the wood stove in there. I have been boiling maple sap. I've been boiling sap. It's actually boiling today because there is no sap collection today. We went from 60 degrees yesterday in the middle of the day, and we dropped 30 degrees within a couple hour period and got some rain and snow, and it's 28 today. So no sap.
Crazy.
No sap is running here either. And then I've been trimming goat hooves, cleaning barns. I just saw somebody walk by you, Heather. Behind you. There was.
Oh, my dogs, yeah.
Okay, I was I saw a tail. That's kind of it for me. Trying to keep the goats healthy in this crazy weather. So, speaking of crazy weather, Heather.
Yeah. Well, we've had crazy weather. We're just south, I think an hour and 20 minutes or so south, and we had the same temperature shift. That was pretty wild. And the rain, oh my gosh, so much rain out of nowhere.
Yes, I think we got an inch yesterday.
Yeah.
So Heather, you and your husband Andrew are preparing to move. A massive move. And you're heading to Alaska. So go ahead.
I was going to say 4,650 miles. It's a massive move, yeah.
That's massive. That is seriously. Can you give us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Alaska, and I left Alaska when I was a teenager just because I wanted to see what was out there, right? I feel like a lot of kids feel that way. Lived in Montana for a little bit, got into transportation, which is what I do now for my career. I'm in marketing and recruiting there. Moved to Florida, met my husband. He is from Pennsylvania, so we moved up to Pennsylvania, kind of moved all over the country. We started a homestead here since that's something that we've both been into our entire lives. And my goal was always to return back home after leaving. And he, even before meeting me, wanted to live in Alaska. So kind of worked out pretty well.
That's awesome. So you went from Alaska to Florida. That's
yeah, it's polar differences, that's for darn sure. And Pennsylvania compared to Alaska, also very different. I'll say I love the farmland in this area, and geographically, probably my favorite area of the country. If it had real mountains, I would love it here. But it rains a lot here too, and that's kind of it's different for me winter-wise. I know I'm crazy for saying this, but I prefer winters in Alaska instead of winters here, especially with having animals. It's consistent up there, which I appreciate a lot more. So, yeah.
So, Heather, just to chime in on that. So, real mountains. So, I grew up in New Mexico at the base of the Sandia Mountains. So, a good 10,000 foot mountain. And somebody once told me that I live in the mountains in New York. And I was like, these are hills. Not that I would regularly go climb these hills, but it was like, yeah, these aren't mountains. These are hills. Anyway, I just think it's funny.
I agree completely. That's like when we lived in Florida, some of our friends and family there thought we were moving to the mountains because we're in Pennsylvania. Because Florida's flat. I think their tallest mountain or hill is like 300 feet above sea level, so not very tall. Don't quote
Yeah.
me on that though.
Yeah. So, do
That's
you want
funny
to
because
go ahead, Jenny?
oh no, I was just gonna say it's just funny because I'm like a flatlander because I'm from Massachusetts and there are no mountains or anything close to it there. So even in New Hampshire, I'm like, yeah, let's go to the mountains, and they're probably just like little tiny hills. So
Still pretty though, I
yeah,
will say.
yes.
Definitely. Definitely. So you said both you and your husband are have a homesteading history and you're both into homesteading. Can you tell us about your journey as adults into homesteading?
Yeah, so my husband, he actually worked on a farm as his first job, and that's what kind of got him started actually in Pennsylvania here. And they did direct to consumer beef, and they actually had their own processing plant right on their farm. So that was his experience. He got to handle a little bit of everything animal wise. Mine, I've been obsessed with animals since I was born. I was in 4-H when I was a kid, and kind of just took off from there. So here in Pennsylvania, we knew that this was going to be temporary when we moved here, but we still wanted to have some acreage. So we just have 14 acres, almost 15. I always have to say that almost 15 because it matters, right? And we originally weren't going to get any critters because we knew it was temporary. We knew we wanted to move either to Montana or to Alaska. There's just so many goats in this area, and we've been remodeling our farmhouse here, the 1870s farmhouse, and we completely gutted it down to the studs and redid everything inside, and now we're working on finishing up some of the outside items. It's been a lot of work, but homesteading wise, do a little bit of everything and a lot of things I still want to learn because we're young and get into. We have goats here. We used to have meat rabbits as well, but to prepare for our move, unfortunately downsized on the animals.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have goats and we do canning and soap and a little bit of everything on that side and bake all of our own bread, which I love the starter that we got from you as well. I have a couple different starters. So yeah.
That starter has made the rounds. It is all over the place. One thing about that starter, the folks I got it from, that starter
Mhm.
was started, I believe, in 1957 in Alaska.
Okay,
Oh,
that's super
So,
cool.
so it'll be going home.
Yeah, we'll have to make a whole post about that. But no,
Yeah.
I think right now, especially I'm Generation Z technically, which is I know stigmatized right now, but I think
X. So
yeah, I think a
the
lot of
original
us are
feral child.
there you go. I think a lot of us are getting back to homesteading just because the way the world is right now, and we love it. It's the lifestyle that we both want to live, and even when it's pouring rain like yesterday and we're trying to work on putting up gutters and taking care of the
Ooh,
goats and everything, it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it a lot. So, yeah.
great. Ginny, do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
so are you taking? I know you said you downsized some of your animals to prepare for the move. Are you taking any of them, or what?
Yes. Yes,
So
and I'm assuming you're about to ask the process. Sorry. Yeah. So we have cats. We rescued a whole bunch of those stray cats, some of which I know you
Mm-hmm.
got. We kept one for ourselves. We have two of our own. We have two pet dogs, two livestock guardians that are coming, and 16 goats that are coming. And we're driving through Canada, which I will never do again. Process wise, permits. I feel like our poor goats are like lab animals at this point with how many times their blood's been drawn and all the tests that they've had to go through. But we'll be the first fainting goats in Alaska, which we're really looking forward to. So, yeah.
oh,
That's
that's
exciting.
awesome.
Yeah. It's kind of an odd item. Eventually, we'll be getting more critters up there. The farm we're buying is 160 acres compared to the
Oh,
14 here, so we're going to be expanding quite a bit. We'll probably still end up buying some more critters from down in the States, but like next time we're gonna ship the goats in the mail. I think that'll be a lot easier. We're on the plane, not in the
In
mail,
the
just in a
mail.
box.
They have their little heads sticking out of a box. Ah, I'm coming.
It'll be
Yeah,
pretty good. Yeah. It's going to be a long trip. We have it all planned out. We've been talking to more government agencies than I think I've ever spoken to in my entire life for the permits and whatnot that we're looking forward to for sure.
that's great.
Yeah, that'll be quite an adventure for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. You have planned stops along your route to let the
Yeah.
goats out, or are you going to be able to let them out?
In Canada, no, because it'll be a sealed trailer the entire way. But we
Okay.
have friends and family still in Montana, so we're gonna drive there, let them out, and we're sleeping in like Minnesota one night, and then we'll get to
Okay.
Montana. But they'll have plenty of room in the trailer, and then it's a 5 day drive and 4 nights that we're gonna be sleeping with them in the trailer. Yeah, it's gonna be tight and it's gonna be real dirty, and it's a brand new trailer, so we're not looking forward to cleaning it out after the trip.
Oh
No.
gosh.
So you said it's 160 acres?
Yeah, 160 acres. It's
It's, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like 130 acres or so are old farm hayfields. They haven't been used in 10, 15 years, so we're gonna be brush whacking everything there. It's gonna be a lot of work, but we're looking forward to it.
Yes. It's my understanding you have not physically you have not put your feet on this property yet. So
Correct.
are there any nerves or worries about that?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm very familiar with the area, and we've had friends and our realtor and everything
Mm.
go up there and look at the
Good.
property. So we know it's good ground. There were some unexpected surprises with there's a barn on the property and a little barn apartment, and we originally thought it was a lot larger than it was. So we're kind of not very happy about that, but we ended up working it out with the seller and everything. So, and mainly we are a little worried, but we're more excited than we are worried. My husband and I can fix anything, I feel like. So it is what it is. And it's very rare to get property like that up there, too. So, yeah.
That's great. It sounds like, from what I've seen, it's a beautiful piece of property. So, yeah. So, what is your favorite animal to raise on your homestead currently? And then we'll talk about what you're going to raise or what you're looking forward to raising in Alaska that you don't currently have.
Current animal, currently duplicating myself there, goats. I work remotely and I think I drive all my colleagues insane with how many goat pictures and everything I send them. But definitely goats, the personality is great. About animals we plan on raising in the future, we plan on having cattle, reindeer, goats, meat rabbits again, and maybe chickens. Maybe. That's yeah.
Okay.
And are reindeer for meat? I'm sorry if I'm like ignorant, but I'm
I have no
assuming
idea.
are they for meat or
Yeah, they're for meat, and then also their antlers in Chinese medicine. The velvet is used for a lot of different medicinal purposes. So there's a purpose
okay?
there, as well as just the attraction of, we have Santa's workers here on the
Yeah.
farm, kind of a thing, the tourism aspect of it as well. So
Hmm.
Very cool.
That'll be cool.
yeah,
So will
they're
you
really
guys have to
hardy.
put yeah, well, that I mean, they're from that's kind of is that where they're native to up in Alaska or
Yeah, that
okay.
in northern Canada as well. Yeah.
Hmm. So will you guys have to put in all the fencing and everything, or is that already in place or
No fencing currently. Oh yeah, a lot of work, that's for sure. We're getting a survey done here shortly, and that'll help us that we're putting in all the fencing ourselves, and that's again a lot of work. I feel like everything about this place is going to be a lot of work, but will be very well worth it.
It's a good
hmm
thing you're young.
Yes.
Yes. So some of these questions that I have, you've already answered. Like you were raised in Alaska. When you were raised in Alaska, did you live in the city? Did you live rural?
I
What did
would
that
say
look like?
I was raised in Wasilla, so I was born in Juneau,
Okay.
raised in Wasilla. It wasn't rural. It was basically it was a aviation subdivision. So like we had planes that would take off right at the airstrip that we lived right by and everything, which is kind of unique, but not rural. That being said, this will definitely be very rural Alaska where we're moving, and I'm perfectly comfortable with that. So we like people, but we don't like people, right?
I gotcha. I understand what you're laying down there.
So this property is off grid.
It is. It is off grid. Yeah, it's on the
Okay.
road system, but it is off grid. It doesn't have any power run to it or any other utilities.
Can you say that again? It's on the what system?
The road system?
Okay.
Yeah. So we can access it by road, where a lot of properties up there you can't access by road. So
Yeah,
that's
right? Or
yeah,
sled in.
flying. Yeah. But we're happy about the road part because we got a lot of stuff that we're moving up with us that needs to definitely get in there. So that'll help.
Right.
Yes. You are also a canner. You can your food. So, do you prefer pressure canning over water bath over pressure canning? Do you have a preference? What is your canning situation like?
I don't think I have a preference necessarily between the two. I mean, I'm just all about whenever I cook something, might as well make extra and save a little bit of extra, whether that be frozen, in the future freeze drying, which I really want to get into, or canning or something of that nature. And that'll be a long way down the line for the freeze drying, but I will say I don't like canning indoors. We have like an outdoor burner. That's the way to go. That's my only preference as it pertains to canning.
Ginny, do you have a preference?
No. Well, I mean, I feel like water bath canning is just like it seems easier and quicker to me. There's like less steps, I guess. But yeah, I don't really have a preference per se.
Okay. I don't either. So, yeah. Okay.
We're all on the same page. That's good.
Do you think you'll have any kind of difficulty canning in Alaska? I mean, will there be a difference in canning?
I don't think so because I know the altitude really matters. So, like when I was in Montana, that was a little bit different. But up there, we're not very high above sea level where we're going to be. So, I really don't think it'll impact us. Being off grid, maybe a little bit, just because it'll be a little bit more work. But like I said, we can outside right now with the propane burner. Still be, I think, relatively the same. But initially, we have to get everything set up to be able to, actually store food and have the space and everything there. So, yeah.
Yes. Keep things from freezing.
That too. Yeah, that's going to be a challenge, and ourselves from freezing as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Are
Ginny?
you guys hunters? Because I know obviously that's a big part of the lifestyle up there. So are you looking forward to that or?
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that and fishing, which I know New York has some good fishing. I haven't personally fished in New York. Pennsylvania does not have any good fishing. No. But definitely looking forward to fishing and hunting up there. My husband more so on the hunting side than I am, but the fishing portion, my husband hasn't fished up there yet, but I think that he might die. So, got to make sure we move there first because he's going to be so happy. Yeah. Do you guys both hunt and fish or?
I don't like to be cold. So hunting season is typically in New York during the cold time. So I do not. I support my husband and I help him process
Yeah.
what he hunts. But yeah, I don't like to be cold. But Ginny she's got some interesting stories coming up.
Okay.
Well, so I don't currently hunt. That is something I'm trying to learn how to get more experience, trying to network and meet other women in the area that bow hunt primarily. So I did go to like a little overnight like weekend trip this past summer that had some like introduction to bow hunting and introduction to archery classes and stuff like that. So hopefully in the future I can report back and say yes.
Awesome.
But
You
yeah.
also recently went fishing, didn't you? Not recently.
Yeah, yep, we've gotten into fishing, yep, and I actually got Luke a fishing rod for Christmas. So I'm like, you can come with me, it'll be fun. So we'll see if he starts coming along. We'll see. So, yeah, mostly just for fun though, honestly, more than anything else for the fishing anyways. But
It is
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Just nice to be out in nature, So,
I did fish when I was a child. I haven't fished as an adult. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, once we get you up there, we'll have to take you fishing. So
Yeah, Randy and I definitely are going to have to plan a trip to
Yeah.
Alaska. So
Yeah.
that would be
It'll
fun.
be a little bit before we get prepared to have guests, but once we do, yeah, we definitely want you guys to come up and give us your perspective on the farm and everything. So,
It'll be at least a year.
on our end,
So how do you anticipate living off grid? Are you guys practicing? Are you guys like turning off the electric at home?
yeah. So we actually did so we're going to be doing solar and eventually wind as well, maybe some hydro because we have a creek on the property. But we did the last 3 months, we've been low or no electricity every day. Obviously, I work from home, so like we have a Jackery and we've been doing that. But we've gotten our usage down significantly and it hasn't impacted us. And the solar system that we're getting is going to be bigger than I think what we're going to need. So it shouldn't impact us after we get set up. Now, the first month is going to be really, really miserable. So we're preparing ourselves for that, but we've bought a lot of things here to kind of get us set up for that. Being power wise off the grid, I don't think will be that bad. Our place does not have a septic initially or running water, so getting a well in and running lines for that is going to be huge. And not having a septic is really not, I don't like being cold either, especially when you have business to do. So, not looking forward to the outhouse aspect of being off the grid initially. But before our first winter, so this year, we're going to get a septic in and a well in and have some more of those small creature comforts. It won't be glorious or anything like that, but it'll be better than the first month for sure.
Definitely. So the first month will be camping,
Pretty much.
basically.
Yeah.
And
Are you a fan of camping?
I love to go camping. I do love
Okay.
camping. So yes.
Yeah. Good. Awesome.
Yes. Definitely.
Are you going to be able to keep your remote job? Is that your plan when you move up there? Or are you, yeah, okay.
Yeah, definitely. I love what I do, and it'll be a process because I'm taking quite a bit of time off of work, and I'm not quite used to that other than when I get sick, which is unfortunately pretty often for me. But no, they're amazing. I travel quite a bit for work, but it's slowed down here recently. So, and we joke to where we're at. We basically have to fly up to Syracuse or drive up to Syracuse to fly out. So the airport for me for when I travel is going to be closer there than it is here, and it's actually an international airport, so flights should be cheaper, which is pretty funny. You know, flying from Alaska down to the States will be cheaper than flying from Pennsylvania.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Alaska's or Anchorage there is an international airport, and it's got a lot of great flights. So the remote aspect, job-wise, I think will be great. So I'm looking forward to it.
What are you going to do for internet?
Starlink.
Okay.
Yeah, we've heard
right.
lots of great reviews on it.
Mhm.
We could get wired and internet, but we don't think that company is really great, and it's really expensive monthly, more so than even Starlink. So that's what we're gonna give a shot to. But if we need to try something else, we will.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people lately, in the recent months, have really great things to Starlink. I know nothing about it, but I'm happy with my Verizon home internet. So
Good. I don't know anything about it either. I'm trusting my husband on that one. So
yeah. Well, I know you guys have done a lot of research, and
yeah,
and a lot of book reading. I've watched your oh my gosh, your TikTok videos. They're hilarious. So
thank you.
So Ginny, do you have any other questions?
I guess I was just curious, how did you come up with the name Burnt Feather Farms? Does that have like any specific meaning or?
So the feather part, my nickname when I was growing up was always Feather because Heather Feather, that was part of it. But my husband really likes chickens and ducks and also like the eagle aspect of it, freedom, everything. The burn, I don't know. This sounds kind of out there, but like a phoenix, the burning and starting anew, we kind of view that like with our life. We've started new quite a few times. My husband grew up in Pennsylvania, lived in Florida, and that's kind of the meaning behind it. And then farms, why we chose the S is because we knew that this wasn't going to be the only place, and we want to still, when we move, we're still bringing aspects of our farm from here with us. And I think that we've learned a lot here and a lot from people in the area too. So that's why we kept it as farms. It's not really a huge meaning behind it, but that's what I got for you.
That is
awesome.
a great meaning. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, so in part of the reason why I absolutely loved being at Alison and Randy's place is because they do the farm stay experience there. So loved the tour that you gave us and walking through and sharing all that information with us. On our farm stay side, we're going to be the Alaska Wilderness Homestead, just for marketing purposes, but we plan on doing meat and other products in the future, and that'll still be under the farm's name. So yeah.
Cool. Ginny, any additional questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. I guess one last question is, where can people who actually listen to our podcast, we do have some listeners, so where can those folks find you, Heather?
Yeah, Facebook, TikTok, and our website are all Burnt Feather Farms. Website's burntfeatherfarms.com. And then in Alaska, you can find us in Trapper Creek. We'll be the ones with the screaming and fainting goats. So pretty hard to miss, I feel like, if you come up that way. But
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to coming up and visit you. If not in a year, in a couple years. So maybe when Randy retires, we'll get to take some vacation.
oh yeah, we'll take you all over the state. Where we're at's going to be pretty great because Denali's right there. But part of my favorite part of being up there and just talking about Alaska is helping people plan their trips and everything. Just because it's very unique, especially. And I'm not sure, Allison, if you've traveled, or Ginny, if you've traveled extensively or not, but a lot of like Andrew's friends and family haven't really traveled out of the lower 48 or even the eastern part of the lower 48. So talking about like where we can take them up there and show them all the different parts of Alaska, because it really should be multiple states based upon the different geographical areas there, but it's pretty awesome. So looking forward to having you. And Ginny, it sounds like you're getting into bow hunting and you like fishing, so you'll definitely have to come up as well.
I'll go in Allison's suitcase. I'll smuggle in.
or maybe it'll be a girls' trip.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
So, girls' trip to Alaska. I don't know that Randy will be too keen on that idea. He's like, that's pretty far without me. So he's okay with Tennessee.
You can hang out with Andrew.
Yes, and Luke can come too. Yeah.
You go.
Yes.
So that's all I have for today, unless anybody has anything else.
Well, it was great meeting you, Ginny, and nice seeing you again, Allison. And thank you for having me on the podcast today.
Good to see you too. Randy's been asking if you guys are going to have time to come back up. If you guys wanted to come back up, we could talk about this offline. Anyway, I am going to let Ginny do our exit, and then I'm going to stop recording. So nobody hang up until.
Yeah, so thank you, Heather, for joining us on our episode today. If you all enjoyed the episode, if you wouldn't mind giving us a kind review on whatever podcast app you're listening to us on. You can also find us on Instagram at Figuring Out Homestead Life. You can watch the video version of this podcast on Allison's YouTube page, which is Zig and Vine Homestead, and she's also on Instagram at Zig and Vine Homestead as well. And I am Mrs. White Homemade Life. So follow us on all the places, and we really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.